The Universal House of Justice Letter to the Conference of the Continental Boards of Counselors, December 29, 2015, Part 1. Dearly loved friends, the plan upon which the Baha'i world embarked nearly 5 years ago is in its closing stages. The final tally of its accomplishments grows still, but will soon be sealed. The collective effort it inspired has called for wholehearted reliance on those powers with which a benevolent Lord has endowed his loved ones. Gathered with you at this moment of reflection, we are conscious of a determination among the friends to bring the current plan to a fitting conclusion, and of an eagerness to advance further along the path that experience has marked out. The considerable distance already traveled along that path is evident from the present plan's most striking outcomes. The ambitious goal of raising to 5,000 the number of clusters where a program of growth, at whatever level of intensity, is underway looks set to be achieved in the months that remain before Rizwan 2016. In many scores of clusters, there are over 1,000 inhabitants, sometimes several thousand, taking part in a well-established pattern of activity that embraces ever larger numbers, raising communities whose habits of thought and action are rooted in Baha'u'llah's revelation. Worldwide, 500,000 individuals have now been enabled to complete at least the first book in the sequence of courses, an extraordinary feat that has laid a sure foundation for the system of human resource development. A generation of youth is being galvanized into action by a compelling vision of how they can contribute to building a new world. Marveling at what they have seen, leaders of society in certain places are pressing the Baha'is to make their programs for educating the young widely available. And the capacity for learning, which represented such a priceless legacy of previous plans, is being extended beyond the realm of expansion and consolidation to encompass other areas of Baha'i endeavor, notably social action and participation in the prevalent discourses of society. We see a community fortified with the gifts of strength and hard-won experience that come from 2 decades of unremitting effort focused on a common aim, a significant advance in the process of entry by troops. That this process must go much further, there can be no doubt. Nevertheless, developments demonstrate that a significant advance has already occurred. It has prepared the friends of God for a more exacting test of their capabilities, one that will also make great demands of your institution as you rally them to meet its requirements. In this coming plan, which will conclude at the threshold of the 2nd century of the formative age of the faith, we will call the believers everywhere to the immense exertion necessary to bring to fruition the seeds that have been so lovingly and assiduously sown and watered in the 5 plans that preceded it. The emergence of a program of growth. The unfoldment of the process of growth in a cluster, while naturally possessing unique features in every instance, shaped by the receptivity of those who are exposed to the divine teachings, conforms to certain shared characteristics. Many of these were discussed in our message to your 2010 conference, in which reference was made to a series of milestones that mark progress along a path of development. A collective understanding of what is required for the friends in a cluster to pass the first of the milestones we described and then the second has grown over this period. In the 5-year plan now ending, the task facing the believers has been to apply all that had been learned from previous plans to the work of extending the process of growth to thousands of new clusters. What this has shown is that much depends on the ability of the institutions to draw on help from friends in other clusters, reinforcing the actions of an existing Baha'i community by, for example, arranging the support of visiting teaching teams or tutors. In many places, the institute process begins with the assistance of believers from stronger neighboring communities who find creative ways of reaching out to the local population, youth in particular, and supporting them as they start to engage in service. Efforts to stimulate activity in a cluster, especially one that has not yet been open to the faith, are greatly enhanced if one or more individuals settle there as home front pioneers, concentrating their attention on part of a village or even a single street where there is heightened receptivity. Well over 4,500 believers have already arisen to serve in this way during the present plan, an astonishing accomplishment. Whatever the combination of strategies used, the chief aim is to initiate a process for building capacity within the cluster through which its inhabitants, prompted by a wish to contribute to the spiritual and material well-being of their communities, are enabled to begin offering acts of service. Once this fundamental requirement is met, a program of growth has emerged. Essential, of course, is the support of auxiliary board members and their assistants, whose close involvement from the first stirrings of activity helps the Friends to maintain a clear and united vision of what is needed.